What is going on, everybody? Appreciate you tuning in. Back with another edition of Passion and Precision. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to talk, obviously, Super Bowl, everything that surrounded that, and also some players making some offseason news around the NFL. We'll get into that as well. NBA, I'll talk about the trade deadline that just passed, which, I mean, Jury Squad made a move that we'll discuss. My team did something minor, probably won't come up because, not necessary. But there was, some interesting names that got moved. We'll definitely talk about that. And then obviously we have Final Burn, where, you know, we have our final moment of the episode to kind of go at people, teams, whatever. So make sure you stick around for that. It's quickly becoming a, probably the best segment of the show. I don't know. Well, you guys have to let me know. But before we even get into all that, obviously got to bring in the co-host, Jory Sports Stories. What's going on? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Kicking off my birthday month with
Okay.
a pleasant surprise of the Chiefs getting their teeth kicked in. I love to watch it.
Yeah.
Love to see it. And the subtle flex about I saw the subtle flex about the Celtics not needing to make a major trade at the trade deadline. I caught that.
That's not even what I was going for. I was just saying, like, second apron. There's only so much that they can do anyway. So what they did do, I don't think it's not gonna hit anybody's radar what they did. I mean, I'll bring it up, but
Hmm.
I wasn't saying you
Can't complain.
had to do something.
Yeah,
You know,
nobody told them to do that. Absolutely nobody told them to do that. But
yeah,
we get to see the fruits of the trade tonight, I guess.
yeah. It seems that way. That's what it's pointing towards. Um, just doing this quick share. But I mean, while I'm doing all that, we do have to start with Super Bowl. It capped off the NFL season, as you mentioned. Back-to-back champs, Chiefs going for the three-peat, hadn't been done in a while. I guess get blown out, dismantled by an Eagles team.
Yeah,
Came into the season, a lot of questions about them going into the playoffs, wondering if they had the right mentality, the right group to get it done. They had the right coach. All those questions are gone today because you win the title. There's no reason to question Sirianni anymore. He's a Super Bowl champion coach. You can't question Jalen Hurts anymore.
so quit going at him.
Yeah,
Quit
yeah,
going at him. Eagles
yeah.
fans.
He
It's not gonna stop us. As soon as he starts doing dumbheaded bone stuff,
well, that's more of a product of the city.
yeah.
Like Philadelphia, cool, you won one, go get another one. Jalen Hurts, a lot of questions about him and his ability at quarterback. Those get silenced. He went up against Patrick Mahomes, outplayed him, outplayed Spagnuolo in his
Mhm.
defensive scheme, and is Super Bowl MVP. That usually launches you into a stratosphere in today's game. But I guess the first question will have to be looking at the Chiefs and kind of the narratives around them. Does this tarnish anything about this Chiefs run the way that they lost last night?
Absolutely. Well, no. Well, it depends on how you
Okay.
look at it. Because if you watch the Chiefs all year, they had issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that other teams haven't been able to take advantage of the Chiefs giving them chances to win the game.
Yeah.
They played a team that was going to stick it to them regardless. So in that sense, it doesn't necessarily by all means saying the Bills were better than the Chiefs, and yet they still lost.
Hmm.
So considering, and then you look at the actual what happened on the game and how you saw people looking on the sideline. Chris Jones was about to lose his
Hmm.
mind. The it I get it. To get your teeth stomped in like that, it hurts on national
Hmm.
television. But it's like with the Chiefs, it's like once one thing stopped going right, everything else stopped going right. And I don't necessarily blame the defense, even though Jalen
Hmm.
carved them up.
I mean, it's
It's
what's
like,
going on, Damien.
hmm,
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about that as well. Uh, yeah, I think the way that people are looking at the score, I guess it's easy to say that everything was a failure for the Chiefs. I mean, look, the Chiefs stopped Saquon Barkley, which usually against the Eagles, like that was the first thing you had to do. Make sure Saquon didn't go off, force Hurts to beat you. In this matchup, Hurts had more than enough to beat them. I do think because of
mhm,
the inept offense that Mahomes, Reed, and then those guys were putting out there drive after drive, that put a lot of pressure on that Chiefs defense. And they probably got worn down at a certain point. Because, I mean, once it got to like,
I mean,
because I'm just saying, like, once it got to like 20 something, nothing, and it's like 30s, 4-6, mentally at that point,
I was enjoying
I
it.
mean, yeah, I'm sure we'll see the numbers on like the ratings and stuff. It'll probably do well because there were large sections of the country that have been waiting for something like this for the last 2-3 years, and now that it's happened,
Hmm.
I think now people are wondering, dynasty over. Are the Eagles now the new it team or something like that? And it's going on Trajan, which Trajan brings a good point in here. But all you have to do is bring four and get constant pressure. You got to do something different, and that's where it seemed like
Yeah, they also had a tackle playing guard.
yeah, which I mean they did do that for most of the season, but it's just like with this Eagles pressure that they were able to bring, Mahomes didn't have any answers. Reed, as Trajan says, questioned
Mm-mm.
Reed after this one. Reed didn't have any answers. We didn't see much from Pacheco or Kareem Hunt or any of that. Like after a while, it turned into Mahomes versus that front four, and Mahomes was losing that battle down after down.
They had him
Yeah.
in hell. Like he was sick. He was sacked 6 times. He ran out of at least two.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been 8 to 9 sacks.
Yeah.
In all honesty, you threw 2 picks. One which went for
Mm-hmm.
6, and you fumbled once. The Chiefs' offensive line got manhandled, and they looked quite frankly out of place. And it was that one time in the fourth quarter where they really put him on the ground, and they popped
Mm-hmm.
Patrick. I didn't feel bad for him because I remember he was like, we don't get the benefit of the rest
Mm-hmm.
comment and did it.
Yep.
I didn't feel bad. And once you go punt, 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 pick six, punt, pick, punt down,
Mm-hmm.
you're not winning that
Yeah.
before you even score.
Yeah.
They did not score until 34 seconds left in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the first half, the Eagles had more points than Chiefs had yards, which is crazy to think about. I believe half of it was 24-0. The Chiefs had 23 yards of offense. Chiefs fans probably couldn't tell you the last time they had seen this Mahomes led group look that bad offensively.
They did
So,
stop running the ball. I
mm-hmm.
feel like the first Couple times Philly's offensive line said absolutely not.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with the offensive line, they were through getting to the passer. They were
Mm-hmm.
still getting the Patrick Mahomes in run plays, which is
Yeah.
crazy if you think about it. So
Mm-hmm.
after they realized they weren't going to be able to run like that, they just completely abandoned it. They did exactly something. That's some stuff I expect Baltimore to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised they did that. I was thinking, I'm like, y'all should between Nagy and Andy Reid, I'm like, y'all should know that just because it's not working now, if you keep doing it, especially when it comes to running the football, eventually you're going to be able to pop at least one or two runs. What if Philly wasn't able to run the ball well with Saquon, but he was
Nope.
able to get loose at least once or twice for a decent chunk.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped
Yeah.
because they were so sold out on stopping Saquon, they forgot that they got what they have at quarterback that can run. And D Hop dropped the ball and then gonna say that crap at the
Mm-hmm.
end.
Yeah. Oh, the catch he made for the
Willy
touchdown
Wonka
though
talking
was
about the
was
referee.
ridiculously tough,
And then he
and
dropped
he
it three
dropped that
times.
wide open. Yeah. I mean, some nights is not your night. For the Chiefs, it just happened on the biggest stage of the season.
Then to go and say the refs. This is why don't nobody like them. This is exactly why don't nobody like the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
First, 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was we don't get blatant calls and now it's well the call is shut the hell up. You
Mm-hmm.
all right? What?
Yeah.
That's why people have been rooting for them to get their teeth kicked in.
Yeah.
They have some in the wide receiver room and experience, but they do need some retooling. Keep Xavier. I'm about
I
there
mean, Worthy's
with
the
Marquise
playmaker that
Brown,
they
like
have.
always. Yeah, he was the one who showed up,
Mm-hmm.
albeit garbage time. I'm not.
Yeah.
I know I saw a stat line say 157. I'm like, absolutely not. This happened to be fourth down, in the fourth quarter when they were down 30 something.
Mm-hmm.
Because I went to bed. I went outside. I didn't go to bed. I went outside, and then I was playing with my dog. Then I was getting ready for the day, and then I turned back on the game. I'm like, now it's a game.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes did some Dak Prescott level stat padding at the end of that.
Yeah. I First off, I love how Anthony comes in, shouts you out. Like I'm not even here. But whatever, Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
Good to see you, Anthony. uh yeah, so Traden says you got D Hop, Juju, which I mean, Juju hasn't really been good since Steelers. He struggled in New England. People thought when he got to Kansas City, like he was gonna have some revival, which he was good last year, but this year he fell off. Hollywood Brown, if you were watching that game, you probably only heard Hollywood Brown's name maybe twice, and they were both like Tom Brady, just talking about guys who were on offense for the Chiefs. Not like Hollywood Brown actually did anything to have his name mentioned,
Exactly.
but it's just like you look at both groups because Trader did say the Eagles have playmakers. What do the Chiefs have? Yeah, the Eagles have AJ Brown, who, despite his, I guess, moodiness, he gets open, he makes plays. Devontae Smith makes plays. Outside of Xavier
Goddard.
Worthy, who? Oh yeah,
Go-
Goddard. I mean, Dotson had the first touchdown of the game.
mm-hmm.
Like those guys with Hurts and his ability last night, it looked like a Chiefs team that now you're sitting back and you're like, they squeezed probably every ounce of juice out of this group. Like Kelsey
Mm-hmm.
looks old and slow. Although if he comes back, you kind of understand that, but that probably means they do need another tight end to match with him that can kind of make plays while he's on the field
Pick
as
up.
well. But then it's like wide receiver group. It's if you brought back like Hopkins and Juju again, do you really think they'd be better off next year than they were this year? Probably not. So they're gonna have to get creative, whether it's through the draft, getting some playmakers, and this is all not even talking about the offensive line that got embarrassed by the defensive front
Mm-hmm.
from the Eagles. So they got to fix that too. That's a lot to fix, especially when you're talking about a team that's just won back-to-back Super Bowls. So there's got to be a lot of turnover, and whether or not they make that decision to do it or not will probably decide kind of how they look next year.
Absolutely. And
Uh,
one thing I didn't even notice about Jalen blitz because Spagnola was starting to blitz the crap out. He
mm-hmm,
was once you get Spags on the ropes, he's going to blitz.
mm-hmm,
They caught Jalen lacking once,
yeah,
and that was about it. He handled blitzes very well this game. This is something he struggled with for the past 2 years,
yeah.
and he seems to elevate his play in the playoffs. Sounds a little like something we've been asking for another quarterback to do, but I'm not going to start on that.
Yeah. No, that's a good point because that was the playbook against Jalen Hurts. Blitz him, he makes bad decisions. Not last night. He escaped the
Mm-mm.
pocket when he needed to, gain
And he
yards with
carved
his
them,
legs. Yeah, he rolled out
and he was
at
making
times and hit
plays,
guys on the sideline. Like he had a counter to everything.
and he was pushing the ball downfield, and he wasn't scared to do
Yep.
it. Again, not taking shots, but you know what I'm talking about.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Look. I feel like obviously when you look at the Eagles, this win does a lot for like Sirianni's profile amongst NFL coaches. This win does a lot for Jalen Hurts and how he's now going to be seen in terms of the quarterback hierarchy in the league. And I mean, I feel look, I'm happy for Hurts for sure
Hmm.
because a lot of the questions about him are now over with. But I guess sticking with the Chiefs once again. Uh, Assuming Mahomes stays in Kansas City, and I guess you got to look into the crystal ball for this. Next 5 to 10 years, how many Super Bowls do you think Mahomes gets for the rest of his career?
First of all, I don't think Nico Harrison runs the damn Chiefs. So unless that somehow
Mm-hmm.
happens,
Yeah.
I think Mahomes is staying in Kansas City.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying, you don't know how long Mahomes will want to play. I'm just saying, like, 5, 10 years, how many
Mm,
more Super Bowls do you think he gets?
4,
Do you think it's he gets four more?
3. I'll be a little less
Okay.
radical out there. 3, maybe. But it depends on. This is a moment in this team.
Mm-hmm.
It shapes the next 5. How to retool the team.
Yes.
Your offensive line is
Yes.
tragic. Um, Chris Jones is injured and on the other side of 30.
Mm-hmm.
Your wide receiver room is subpar, mediocre, whatever you want to say. Xavier Worthy excluding.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, but he can't be Patrick Mahomes with a bag of chips as an offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They got embarrassed. And
Yeah.
that's why you had Mahomes on the sideline looking like,
Yeah.
and Travis looking
Mm-hmm.
like, I cracked up.
Travis kind of had the look of a guy who was like, this might be it. I'm not going to tell anybody it's it yet, but this might be it.
He was gonna cry. You You could tell he was gonna cry.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like before the game he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna retire. What are you talking about?" I feel like after the game he was probably like, "Maybe I kind of need to at this point. Like, am I gonna put
go
myself through another
retire.
17 games, with my body, and then have to do another playoff run? A lot of dedication."
Again, that's
Anthony
why I
has a
said
good point.
Anthony it's gonna be they retool like they retooled that next
Yeah.
year. This year is gonna be dependent. I don't think they need to retool. Offensive line might need a little pause. I know what bad offensive, so it's like, yeah, they'll be back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I will say I don't think it will be next year though.
Well, yeah, because I think that's going to depend on how drastic are the changes. Because I feel like there's two ways they could go about it. Like they could maybe try to treat it like the Eagles have, where the Eagles have a really good defensive line, really good offensive line, and you kind of make it work from there. So I guess if you're a Chiefs fan, you'd have to think, if we fix the offensive line, do the weapons look better because Mahomes has more time to throw? I guess that's a valid question. I would probably say you probably still need to tweak the playmakers on the offensive side. And defensively, you wonder, if you could, I guess, put more pressure on Hurts. Would the defense have looked like it did? Like, I mean, because I think we both agree the defense wasn't like the biggest issue, even though they had 40 dropped on them. A lot of it was because the offense wasn't doing anything.
34,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
6-6.
And Anthony puts, we've seen the Super Bowl logo, which is like blue on blue. So
Titans Panthers.
I look, if you're a Giants fan, you're a Colts fan, you're a Lions fan, you're a Bills fan. Those are the ones with blue. Like you're looking at it like, okay, maybe next year's our shot. It is kind of crazy that this whole Super Bowl logo thing has kind of matched up every year recently here.
Did it match this year?
This year wasn't this year like red with a little green?
Yeah, it sure was. Ew.
Oh, so Anthony's saying that it's apparently a new logo. That was the old one. Oh, I kind of have to see. I gotta
Okay,
see
I gotta
this
see
now.
this.
Let me see.
So now I get to blur out two new completely random things.
Right.
Or is that part of my conspiracy theory?
Oh, they did change it. See, now they just put a whole bunch of colors in it. Okay. All right, NFL. I'm on to you. Let me see if I can share this really quickly. Yeah. So here is the new logo. Which, I mean, Anthony, you have to let me know if this is the logo that you've seen. That's the new logo. So good luck deciphering that and coming with two teams.
Dolphins, Vikings.
Well, I mean, you got blue in
Look,
there, you got yellow, you got red, you got green. I mean,
it looks like theory.
I mean, if you're looking at this, it's maybe this is trying to tell you Final Four teams. Let's see, blue, white, yellow, green, red. So let's say you took the blue, yellow, green, and the red.
Rams.
Could be Rams,
Look, it's either
Lions.
gonna be Dolphins, something the Dolphins. I don't. I just coach. Your coach is a fraud. What? Ew, ew, ew.
See,
Rams
yeah, now
Bills,
they're trying
yeah.
to make. Yeah, so I guess you could look for Rams Bills. You could look, since there is green, Eagles getting back there.
It won't
Okay.
be the Jets.
The key is the top and bottom colors. Okay, so yeah, top you got this blue here, and the bottom would be like a what was that,
Red.
like a hot pink? Like what? No
Um,
team wears that color.
so Vikings, Dolphins, like I said.
I mean, okay. I mean, look, the NFL clearly getting away from like just the two color logo, which everybody's like, oh, those are the two teams, so they're trying to mix it up. Okay, I can appreciate that.
Even though I really don't like the Dolphins. I think they're soft. I think they're stupid. I think they don't know how to play football when it comes down to it.
If the Dolphins make the Super Bowl next year, like you guys saw sideline to sideline, some crazy bet happened. I would shave my head completely. I mean, look, if they get closer
What?
to it, I'll walk it back. Trust me. I'm not trying to. I mean, my hair's cut short anyway,
I'm gonna hold you to it.
or maybe I'll just do the eyebrow thing. Cause no, I don't know if I can handle.
Just do half an eyebrow.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll do half an eyebrow if the Dolphins actually make the Super Bowl next year. Joshua Johnson, go Pack, go! That's right. The Packers, that color's in there.
It sure is.
And also, welcome back, Joshua.
Dolphins, Packers.
Seems like I guess since you first stumbled upon, you're in here every week. Definitely appreciate that. Um, so I guess putting a bow on the game, because I guess we'll have to touch on halftime because everybody else has more likely to happen next year. Eagles back to back, or Chiefs make it back to the Super Bowl.
Eagles back to back. They're
Okay,
built
because you
for
did
it.
say that you don't have the Chiefs making it next year.
They're built
So
for
who
it.
are your
Most of
favorites
the
to
people
come out of
that
the AFC right now? Then
the
obviously I'm not going
Bills,
to hold you to this because a lot's going to happen between now and the start of the next season. But like I said, you said they're not going to make it back, so you just had to make a guess right now.
the Bills. The,
Okay.
hold on. I'm gonna list out before I get to the one I don't want to list out. Um,
Okay.
whoever wins the AFC South. I'm kidding. Um, Bills. I know the Chargers are a decent shot.
Chargers are a team that could make a jump depending on what they do as well. Like they need to get Herbert
Either
better
Chargers or
better wide
Denver.
receivers. A better wide receiver group, I would feel better about them.
Denver is close to making a jump.
Yeah. I mean, they had the year that they had with a rookie, Bo
So
Nix. You know, Bo Nix doesn't have the sophomore slump that some quarterbacks go through. They they could be players, sure.
I want to pick the Bengals, but I don't know what they're going to do on defense.
And their wide receiver room could be wildly different next year. Yeah.
Changing. Yep.
Anthony says if Casey doesn't make it, it's
And
the
I
Bills'
don't know what
turn.
exactly. And look, Josh Allen, if they don't do nothing with it next year, because I've caught so much heat. There's so many freaking arguments over Josh damn
Mm-hmm.
Allen. I'm gonna let his ass have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't even think this year was his fault. They were the better team for the most part.
Yeah, yeah.
They Kansas City gave them opportunities and they didn't take advantage of it.
Hmm.
And so yeah, next year will be their turn.
Yeah, I mean, it should.
Lions got a lot of turnovers.
Hmm. The Lions have to replace basically their whole
I don't
coaching
think
staff. That's a lot to do.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. Look, if you're a Bills fan, you obviously go into next year feeling very confident. The only pushback would be at this point, it seems like it's a mental boundary right now. The Bills have their good years. They get in the playoffs. They meet that Chiefs team,
And they get to the
and they
Chiefs and
lose. And
lose.
it's always off of something small or a little mishap here or there. That's a hurdle they're gonna have to clear
Hmm.
before they obviously can have plans of winning a Super Bowl. So if you're a Bills fan,
They saw what Philly
yeah.
did.
And look, if you're Josh Allen, you look at Jalen Hurts and go, I could do that.
I
Yeah.
can do that.
There might be other teams who are looking at what Jalen Hurts did and say they could do that. The team,
There is another team that could have did that, but didn't
yes.
do it. But they didn't even get the chance to face the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So fuck them.
Right. Um, okay. So I guess moving to the halftime show. Like, obviously, I don't need to spend a lot of time on this one. How would you grade Kendrick Lamar's performance?
Out of 10.
Okay.
As a fellow cerebral person, who's somebody who doesn't just like a good beat and just likes to shake their rump, I like something that makes me
Mm-hmm.
think and has little subtle eggs and wittiness. 100 out of 10. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
The game over at the end,
Mm-hmm.
the way Kendrick looked in the camera when he said Drake's name. Top tier, top notch, love it. It's a meme. I'm going to start using that as a meme.
Okay.
I, I, I will say I was kind of wrong selection.
Okay.
He played a lot of his new stuff, and I'm like Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much room for Mad City, um, and a whole bunch of other ones that he could have played as well. But I got the message. He wanted to put
Mm-hmm.
in a message.
Mm-hmm.
I got it, but I still wish he would have put some of his other hits too.
Yeah.
And the way he did it
Good.
and changing the songs as censoring himself on the fly like that is like, look,
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving it a 10 out of 10.
Anthony said
Actually,
7 out of
nine and a
10.
half.
I mean, 7 out of 10 for a halftime show. I mean, I feel like that I would take that as well. Um, and I understand that. I think for a lot of people who may not have been the biggest Kendrick Lamar fans, some of the songs maybe went over their head. They didn't understand it, and I feel like for that reason, a lot of people are downgrading it how he did. He didn't play any old school music. Yeah, because I mean, you know what, Paper Butterfly and like you said, Mad City. If he'd gone back to stuff from then, maybe more people would have been like, "Oh, I recognize that one. I recognize that one."
Mm-hmm.
I've heard like arguments about you know doing hip hop rap artists versus pop artists because obviously pop artists,
We don't want to see all
right?
that.
And like, look, I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan, so I had no problem with it. I know every year when they announce the Super Bowl performer, you always get sections of people that love this selection. You always get the same ones who didn't like where the selections were going 10 years ago, really don't like where they're going right now. So they're never going to pick the perfect performer. And I feel like, fans and everything have to get past that. Because the same.
They just so used to damn Beyonce.
Hmm.
Don't nobody feel like doing all that.
Yeah.
Rihanna gave you a 10 out of 10 show last year.
And even that,
And folks were still complaining.
people found issues
She
with that.
popped out with a whole baby.
Hmm.
It was on a floating freaking platform.
Hmm.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I like, for me, it's just like,
Well, I don't mind artists. I don't
right.
mind that. It's just
Hmm.
that when we go
Yeah.
to places like Atlanta and stuff like that, and you bring out Maroon freaking Five,
Hmm.
I'm gonna have an issue with that. You mean to
Hmm.
tell me you couldn't get Ti, Outkast, any notable? They got Usher to do it, but
Hmm.
and he bought the A to the Super Bowl. But
Hmm.
you mean to tell me they couldn't have did that when the Super Bowl was actually in Atlanta? They got a chance to rectify it in
Hmm.
2028,
Hmm.
but that was some BS.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch that one. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, even with the Maroon 5 choice, we also know that the headliner gets their pick of like guests and stuff. You know, they could have whatever, but well, let's see. The next 2 years are out in California. One's with the Niners Stadium, then it's the Rams Charger Stadium. Then, like you said, 3 years from now, it's back in Atlanta. They'll have their opportunity to give it the Atlanta flair. Because if one thing to say with New Orleans was before the game, you had New Orleans flair with America the Beautiful and the national anthem.
mm-mm.
Lettucey did Lift Every Voice, which she did well. Halftime, obviously a lot of people wanted Wayne for the area, but you feel like New Orleans being known for like hip hop and all that, Kendrick did the job. LA, we'll see what directions they go with. Last time they were out in LA, they did the Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and all that stuff. I doubt they run that back, but we'll have to see what they do. I don't know.
They can go pop in LA. They have a lot
Yeah,
of pop artists. I wouldn't
yeah,
mind that. Make them popular so I know all their songs. But
yeah.
the weekends have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a shot at Drake because Drake keeps making throwing shots at her and her husband. That was a definite shot at Drake.
Yeah. Plus, I believe she's a big Kendrick fan too, so she was probably like,
She
sure.
is.
Yeah,
Should have bought Demar.
that would have been, yeah. He could have done that. Um, I guess look, the wait will be on to see who they pick for next year. I don't know if you have any ideas who you'd like to see or what. Yeah, I have nothing right now.
Me
But for
either.
me, it's like as long as they pick somebody who like the 15 minutes entertains, I don't care.
I do feel like we are about 3 years off from having a Megan Thee Stallion Super Bowl,
That name, yeah, that name's probably gonna start bouncing around. I could see that.
and I will be here for it.
And, and look, the same people who didn't like Kendrick, they'll probably be even more up in arms with her.
And they can shut the hell up.
I mean, hey, like I said, I'm here for it. So, all right. And also, just to say, like nothing against rock or whatever. Like I said, you put anybody up there, if they entertain for 15 minutes, I will listen to it and be thoroughly enjoyed. Because it's just a little break from the action in the game and everything like that. Commercials, what do you think about those?
There was a couple of them I didn't get,
Okay.
but the Mountain Dew commercial was freaking
Mm-hmm.
hilarious.
So Anthony says Swift or Lady
If I
Gaga.
have to see Taylor Swift, if I see Swift at a Super Bowl concert, I'm turning off my damn TV.
Well, I guess,
I prefer
I
Gaga.
mean, which I
Give me
mean,
Lady
Gaga's had
Gaga.
hers, and she's a performer. We know that. But haven't we kind of been wondering through all of this with the Swifties and stuff? Isn't she eventually going to have to do one?
I hope not.
Would the location matter to you?
If it, I feel like she'll get it if it's in Kansas City.
Are we assuming that her and Travis would still be a thing by then?
She do go through a lot of
I'm
boyfriends.
just saying.
Hold
I don't know.
on. Assuming they stay together, yeah.
Okay.
I'll also watch Adele too.
Because I've been sitting here for years, like, when are we going to get that announcement of Taylor Swift doing one? And every year they pick somebody else. I'm just like, what are they waiting for? Because I know it's coming at some point.
Usually Taylor be on tour during the Super
Well,
Bowl, but because the last past two
that year,
years she's
that
had
year she better
Travis.
change the schedule up. Because they're going to pick her. We know people will go crazy for it. I, on the other hand, will just be one of those who just sits there and goes, hmm. I'm not going to say I know. I don't know. Unless it's like played on the radio, I might know the name of it, but don't know.
I know all of them.
Well, there you go. I would definitely have to.
I'm not a Swiftie,
You recognize
but
the
I do
music.
like
You
Taylor
recognize the
Swift
music.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will sing it.
Hey, if that's what she gets, like, she's up there, and people just sit at home and can sing along with it. She's done her job.
Hmm.
But that will be something interesting to see who they decide to choose for next year out in LA. I mean, Lady Gaga was at the game as well. They showed her. She was, we'll see. Uh, yeah, commercials. Yeah, because you were talking about that. I liked some of them as well. Like, look, Matthew McConaughey is collecting checks left and right. Like, that man is in commercial after commercial. I thought the Bears one that he did, where he was like playing like different people when they were talking about how the Uber Eats one. That's what it was. I thought that was pretty good.
Yes.
Um, the Pat McAfee one, where he was like the school principal, because they showed like little
Hmm.
teasers of that.
And Little
Yeah,
Caesars.
favorites, Little Caesars. There you go. It's like they mixed in.
And some of them were getting a little borderline.
Okay,
Some of them were being a little PG borderline.
okay. Which one like?
Like the one about I get it, but I'm like, you little freaky commercial. I know what you're trying to get at. Y'all ain't slick.
Yeah, I feel like there was a good mix. Like you had your fun, goofy ones. They popped in like two or three that had like a serious message. The cancer knock you out one. The
The Snoop one.
yeah, the end hate. Like even the border patrol one. Like whatever.
I love how Canada paid for an ad to let American citizens know that they don't have any issues with us.
Yeah. The only one that
And the Angel Soft ad.
yes,
That was
yeah,
genius.
yeah, that was pretty good. The only one that I was just like, okay, was the Yeezy.com one. I was like, what? I was like, what are we doing here?
They let him buy an ad.
Hey, money's money. Like they'll take it, but you paid for that. You could have kept that. Like you could have just went live on YouTube yourself and recorded that and gotten the same effect.
Mhm.
But you paid Super Bowl. Well, hey, got money to burn. Got money to burn. Um, but yeah, I feel like we've gone through the Super Bowl enough. Let's talk some offseason news because there's actually now we're into the offseason, but some players have already made headlines somewhat. I guess we'll start. How about Debo? Debo Samuel wants out of San Francisco, and San Francisco basically told him, "Okay, go find your trade." Now this does. I think because it's the Niners, we went through this with Brandon Ayuk, and Ayuk ended up staying.
Mhm.
Will it be different with Debo Samuel? Like, is this it for Debo Samuel in San Francisco?
I think this is it. But I want to say, be careful what you ask
Okay,
for. You ask for a trade, you may or may not get traded to a tenable situation.
true.
I think John Lynch, I think they have a good relationship, and I think they're gonna try to get him into the best place possible
Hmm.
for Debo. And but if the best place possible for Debo and the best deal for the 49ers don't align, it's not gonna work. So he needs to be careful about that.
Yeah,
But I do think it is in the end for him, especially since they just paid
because
Ayuk. So yeah, I can see him in a different uniform.
they also have to pay. They have to pay Purdy as well, or at least decide if they're going to pay
Hmm.
Purdy. So yeah, I agree. I think Debo is gone, and I think there will be some teams that will obviously inquire about what the Niners are looking for in a package for Debo. You know, how high of a pick, how many picks, that kind of thing. But I agree, he's probably gone. Somebody else who made headlines? Aaron Rodgers. Well, the Jets made headlines by saying, Aaron, you're not coming back. Like, just stop talking like, it's 50-50 shot. On our end, you're done. Go find somewhere else to play and, you know, play the twilight years of your career. So, question about Aaron Rodgers. Is he on an NFL roster next season? Or do you think he retires?
I think he might end up on a roster. I hope he retires.
Okay.
But there's something telling me somebody's gonna put him on a roster. And I want to make this very clear because I've seen this a lot on social media and through some videos and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. He better not end up in Nashville.
Okay.
I will riot. They're saying, oh, he could teach Will a few things. Like what? How to be a cancer? How to throw off your back foot?
Yeah.
Will got enough
Mm-hmm.
balls. He don't have enough consistency. Will has enough
Mm-hmm.
audacity. That's not the issue. The issue is his
Mm-hmm.
consistency.
But do you think that rumor is kind of
I,
coming from the assumption the Titans want a quarterback? And then I guess the realization from certain people that this quarterback class might not be that great. So they don't want to necessarily see the Titans use the number one pick on a quarterback just because you need a quarterback. Which I know there's a player that you
I
like
get that,
more than
but
the
don't.
quarterbacks. I know that. I know that for a fact because you've mentioned it on here before.
Hmm. And I'm like, that don't mean go get 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers coming off 2 years off an Achilles
Mm-hmm.
injury. I don't have the line for him
Mm-hmm.
yet. The right side needs to get better.
Right. Yeah.
I don't. He ends up on a roster. Actually, no, because the more I think about it, let's see. If I go down the list, Atlanta got Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
Tex, whatever. Tampa has
Baker.
what's his face?
Baker. Mm-hmm.
Baker. Saints.
I mean, Saints with their cap issues. If
Hmm.
you go from Derek Carr to Aaron Rodgers, I don't know. Saints fans could suffer through that.
They deserve it. The Panthers have their
At
quarterback.
least they should.
And if they don't think they have their quarterback, they're retarded. I mean,
Yes.
stupid.
Like Bryce Young showed at the end of last season, there's reasons to give him a legit shot. Yeah, I feel like you got to look at the quarterback needy teams. Obviously, you said Tennessee, you don't want Cleveland. Like you're dealing with Deshaun Watson. Now you're gonna bring in Aaron Rodgers. Like uh,
That's you already
Stefanski
have
might
locker
lose his
room
mind if that
issues.
happens.
Yes, you already have locker room issues dealing with
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun. Adding Aaron Rodgers, who
Wouldn't be.
talk about locker room down to garbage, down the
Yeah.
string.
Yep. Um, other quarterback,
Anthony, I don't think that that's impossible. That it won't be until the second half of the season that he gets signed.
which would mean he's probably going to hold out for a good team. If their quarterback goes down, then he goes, "Hey,
Hmm.
you might want to bring me in, veteran, whatever." But I guess looking at other teams that need quarterbacks, if that's not on the table, the Raiders. According to the Raiders, like Brady's calling the shots out there. Do we really think Tom Brady would want to bring in this version of Aaron Rodgers?
No,
Oh, forgetting about a quarterback who's getting cut soon. Oh, okay, Anthony. Are you talking about Minnesota? Oh no, I mean Darnold's a free agent, so he's not necessarily getting cut.
you talk about
I was gonna say
Cousins.
you talking about Cousins in Atlanta, but they seem like they're committed to Penix. I mean, you took him eighth overall. Like you better be committed to him if you're gonna move on from Kirk.
Hmm.
But do you bring in Aaron Rodgers to push Penix to like keep the job and not just hand it to him? That would be kind of an Atlanta thing to do. Yeah, he is
No.
talking about Kirk.
That would be an Atlanta Falcons
Yeah,
thing to do.
like they went and got Todd Gurley when Todd Gurley was way over the hill. They did the same thing with Steven Jackson. So they love getting these names that used to be kind of really big and bringing them to Atlanta.
For no
Yeah.
reason.
And look, Atlanta has their own issues. No pass rush. I think their O line is okay, but they want to go get Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, it'd be par for them, but it'd also mean they're not serious about winning.
Exactly.
So that's going to be an interesting name to see where he ends up. And they got Micah. News on Micah because I guess there's a alternate universe where Micah gets moved on from the Cowboys next season. What are the chances you think that Mike is in a different uniform come August or September when the new season starts?
I think it's going to be an 80%, a 95.5% chance he's in the
Okay.
Cowboys uniform. Jerry just put that crap out because the Eagles in the Super Bowl and he just wanted to steal attention. Anytime, anyhow. He don't know when to be quiet. Like, what are we?
Yeah.
So now, or this is one of his cards of, I don't know if I can play you, take you
Mm-hmm.
right now, or when you're deal, but I could trade.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's a 95.5%, 99.2,
Mm-hmm.
99.98% chance that he's a Cowboy. If he's not, look, that means Jerry needs to go into a
Mm-hmm.
home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Also, I think Jerry should understand that the way it happened with Dak, waiting until week of the opening game to sign him, that is not going to go over well with Micah. Micah will go to the podcast and we'll talk about that every day. It will become such a distraction.
Until you get him
Yes.
paid.
Like if you wait that long, Micah might be bold enough to say, "Nah, I'm good." So
Hmm.
that's something that probably need to figure out pretty quickly. Anthony, I think this is a good point. Russell Wilson would be good for the Raiders if they drafted Sanders to mentor him, because we know Russ is a good.
Russell Wilson was to stay in Pittsburgh.
I mean, he does, but it does seem like Pittsburgh's going to lean Fields and then draft somebody
Justin
else.
Fields. Hmm.
So Russ will be out there. Like I said, I don't hate this because if you do bring in Shador, do you necessarily want a situation where you're starting him week one? Probably not. Russ, we know
Hmm.
won't like upset the the was it apple cart or whatever by being okay. We know Russ has a bit of an ego, but when it kind of comes down to it, he's like a rah guy. He's all about team once it's like game day. Outside of that, you might get some ego, but yeah, I think he would do well with Shador for sure. That's the other thing. Like the draft is going to be very interesting at the top. Like where does Cam Ward go? Where does Sanders go? Um,
If I don't get
mhm.
Carter, give me Ward.
Carter's gonna because Carter's gonna be a guy that if you are picking like take the Patriots for instance, sitting at 4, like you're hoping two out of the 3 picks ahead of you are quarterbacks because then you know Carter could be in play, Travis Hunter could be in play, or something like that. And Bella makes her appearance. What's going on, Bella? I guess let's play it out. Let's say the Titans take Carter number 1. I know you would be happy with that. As a
Hmm.
Patriots fan, as whatever. If 2 and 3 turn out to be what Ward, because Ward would be Browns, I guess, and 3 is the Giants. Sanders went to the Giants. Then the draft kind of gets interesting because now like Travis Hunter sitting out there. Would a team try to move up to get him? Do you risk it? Like the top 4 or 5 picks, I think there could be some movement for sure. But
Especially when I also think my team is actively trying to shop that
and
pick.
this might be the year to do that. Because if you want to give Will Levis another
What are
year,
we?
and there's a quarterback hungry, but I'm just saying there's a quarterback hungry team that wants to jump up to 1 and is willing to give you obviously their first round pick as a swap and maybe like a second and like a future something like that. It probably would take more than that. I don't know the whole logistics for draft picks and everything, but like if you're Tennessee and you're looking at that and you're like, okay, so if we move back and we still get like Carter or Hunter, I don't know how they feel about Hunter, but I know they do like a Bill Carter. So you get Carter, maybe second, third round. You take like a Quinn Ewers or I think Jackson Dart might end up as a first rounder by the end of all this, but maybe you take like some quarterback like that who you bring in just to see. Look, maybe they're further along than Will, and there's more that Callahan sees in that guy than Will, and Will is like your backup. But if he's a backup that's at least been in the system, you don't feel bad if you have to turn to him for a game or two. Like there's ways to maneuver it. Once again, as a Patriots fan, I've seen Belichick do it a lot, and with this year not being the strongest draft according to people, and I think next year's is supposed to be stronger, especially at the quarterback position. I mean, I can't really
Hmm.
verify that because the quarterback position is so odd, especially with a lot of these college systems.
It's hard to
Yeah,
predict.
especially with like a lot of these college systems where you have guys who only play shotgun. They get to a team where they try to put them under center a little bit more, like that. It's a crapshoot no matter what, whether you pick first or
Hmm.
32nd in the first round. So we'll see. We will see. Uh, I think in terms of NFL offseason, I think those are the only guys.
Miles Garrett.
Yes. How did I forget about Miles Garrett? He was literally in a Super Bowl commercial too. Miles Garrett with the Browns has said, "Yeah, I'm out.
I'm
Yeah,
out.
like move me somewhere. Gotta go." And also secondarily, was it Batonio who's like, "If y'all about to do a rebuild, I may just retire." Like I'm not going. I'm not going through this
Yep.
with y'all. No, not no. So Miles Garrett obviously seems like he's gone. If you were a team in the top 4 or 5 of the draft, would you trade that pick for a Miles Garrett?
He's not going to want to go there.
I'm just saying, you know, just throw it out there.
The Titans aren't close. The Titans are about a quarterback. We're not even a
Mm-hmm.
quarterback away. We're a quarterback, right guard, right tackle
Mm-hmm.
away. That's really not that bad. We're not that far off. If I delude myself into thinking about that, I'm really going to think we're going to be a playoff team next year. So I'm not even going to start that, deluding myself into
Well,
thinking we're a better
I think
team
it's
than
a
we are.
product of the NFL though. With the parity and how quickly some teams can go worse to first, like who's to say that you know Patriots, Dolphins, Jets fans aren't thinking we could win the division next year if we do this, this, and this correctly. The South, your division.
Jets fans only.
Well, I mean, at least with Aaron Glenn, it's like okay, we got a guy here. We maybe we could get behind. No Aaron Rodgers. Like, let's get a legit quarterback who can run the system a lot better than that old man could. If our defense gets back to where they're supposed to be, maybe we win a few more games. We're a wild card team. Like I don't know. Uh, Anthony says he would trade for Garrett to Washington. Trade,
Washington has the
trade him
money
for
for
a
it.
draft pick and Jonathan Allen.
Now, why would you subject Jonathan Allen to that? He ain't do nothing to y'all. Why would you subject my Bama bro to him, to that misery? He deserves to retire a
Well,
commander.
look, if you're Kevin Stefanski in that front office, you got to do something to make Cleveland more attractive. Like if you're a free agent right now, let's say you're a free agent wide receiver, would you be excited to be in Cleveland? No.
No, because my quarterback is weird and he's hurt, and I don't know if he's ever going to be able to play. And the people that they
Right.
have behind him are tragic.
Yeah. So if you're a defensive player and you're here, Miles Garrett's trying to get out, would you be excited to go sign in Cleveland?
No,
So they got to do something to make it more attractive, whether it's cutting your losses with Deshaun Watson, which would put you in a cap situation like none other for the next couple of years, but they got to do something because right now it's just like, why field a team at this point? Like it's like it seems like a dark cloud is just hanging over Cleveland right now.
you should love both of them, Anthony. Both of them.
Pain is better. We love them.
Jonathan Allen does not deserve to be traded to Cleveland.
Yeah. I'd look
Trade him.
as somebody who's like using the Commanders in a Madden online franchise. I'm a big fan of Jonathan Allen. I like Payne as well. I feel like if you're Washington, do you really want to start moving pieces off of a defense that seem to start getting it towards the end of the year? Yes, I know Miles Garrett
No.
is obviously a piece that every team would want to go after, but yeah, at the expense of Jonathan Allen, I don't know. But I get it, Anthony. You would love to see your Commanders get Miles Garrett to make you more
Can you imagine a
formidable.
line with Garrett, Allen, and Payne? What?
Yeah, but at that point, it's like, what else are you giving up? Like, are you just giving up a bunch of draft capital to get them? That way, you keep them all together.
Mm-hmm. And some of them corners.
Yeah. So yeah, I interested to see what Cleveland's asking price is for Miles Garrett. Because whatever it is, they should be able to get it for a guy. I guess the only worry might be, how will Miles Garrett age? The
He'll
two,
be
3 years
fine.
from
He
now.
hasn't been hurt.
I know, but there's always that. I feel like there's always that worry. Because isn't he? He's over 30 at this point, isn't he? Or is he
He's
at 30?
29.
Okay, so he's gonna get to that number 30 where some teams get weary with certain guys. Fine, you can keep Garrett. I'll take Max Crosby. I mean, Max Crosby, based off of that Pete Carroll press conference where he didn't exactly look enthusiastic about it. I'm
He
assuming
about
Max
to ask
Crosby
for.
might be working his way out of town as well.
Yep.
It would kind of go with the trend, like WNBA active off season. NBA had an active trade deadline, which kind of lets you think maybe there's an active off season coming along there. The NFL usually stays busy anyway. Like you start
Mhm.
moving around big names, Max Crosby, Garrett, potentially Micah Parsons or something like that. Like madness. All right, gotten through all of that. Let's hit up some NBA now. As I mentioned at the top, trade deadline came and went. Obviously, the biggest deal that happened. Hold on. I think Jory's camera's frozen here. Let me do this. Bring her back in. Oh, still frozen. All right, let me monitor that. But yeah, so I guess she'll just get the single box for right now. All right, she's back. There we go. Yeah, I didn't want to start this conversation without you getting back in here. Luca, AD, obviously the trade that shook the NBA world and probably a lot of the sports world. And obviously, you being the Lakers fan on here, your thoughts on the trade, whether it's like your initial reaction versus your reaction now. Were they too different? Let's start with that.
They were completely different. Cause
Okay.
think about it. When I found out the trade happened, I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning to turn my phone to change the rain sound
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't like that rain sound that was playing, and
Yeah.
it woke me up.
Yeah.
And then I see Anthony Davis as a Maverick. I woke my dog up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I say Luca is a Laker. I'm like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of highway robbery? What? And then I got sad. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm gonna miss AD, and now he's out indefinitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny how that works.
Hmm.
I'm not
I
even
feel
rooting for
like
you.
either he rushed himself back or the Mavericks rushed him back. Oh.
I'd like to think AD did it. He heard a lot of the talk about Mavs getting fleeced. Luca's exponentially this. AD is just what's the new nickname with AD day to day or something like that. Day to day AD or something like that. So yeah, he was probably sitting back and going like, I'm sitting here putting up like 40-20 games, 30-15 games, and I'm in a new city, and it's like they don't want me here. So he, waited for like a nationally televised game on the weekend. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play. Had a great first half. What, 26, 16, and 3 blocks. I was like, oh, okay, this is what Dallas is getting.
Hmm.
Then the old AD on the floor, slow getting
Then
up.
they got the full Anthony Davis experience in two halves
Yeah.
in one game.
Yep.
But that hadn't been happening for the past 2 years.
Past 2 years, he's been pretty durable.
So I'm like, hey. And that's why I'm a little upset about it, just because now we don't have a center because of the bum ass Charlotte Hornets.
Right, which is another part of it. Yeah, the Dalton
That's
Connect.
a whole nother conversation for
Yeah,
a few
Dalton
more
Connect.
minutes.
Mark Williams trade is rescinded because Mark Williams' body did not look good to the Lakers. They're worried about his longevity as a big man. And then also with that, Connect back. Connect apparently doesn't want to stay in LA anymore since they moved him. Which for a rookie to have demands like that, kind of crazy work. But hey, stand on business there, Dalton. I guess if you view that adamant about getting out, then keep the same energy,
Enjoy
I guess.
Washington.
Well, I guess like keep the same energy. Every time a microphone's in your face, just be like, look, they don't want me here. I don't want to be here. This will be my message until I'm out of here. And then let's see what Rob Pelinka and the Lakers do. Now, the trade deadline is come and gone. So unless the Lakers buy him out, it's going to be some awkward days the rest of the season with Dalton walking in, looking around like, I don't want to be here. Some of the teams might be like, if you don't want to be here, we don't want you here. But the
Mm-hmm.
front office is like, we're not buying you out, so you're just here. Deal with it. Off season, we'll revisit that. And like you said, the only big man, Jackson Hayes. I guess Vanderbilt. Does Vanderbilt count as a big man? I don't even know with him. Like, what do
He's
you?
a big half.
Okay, so it's Jackson Hayes and whoever can shake loose on the buyout market. Which, depending on the quality of big men on the buyout market, I don't know.
I'm a little
Anthony,
upset about that.
Anthony says, I
I'm
don't
not.
think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. My bad. I
No,
forgot what I
I was
was
just saying, like, the Anthony put, I think Dallas didn't want to pay Luka again, the max, so trade him. The wait was a stupid reason. Yes, the wait was absolutely a dumb reason. Like, you just say, you know, you don't want to pay Luka when he comes in out of shape, works himself into shape. You don't want to set the president. You don't want to whatever. Fine, but to be like, homeboy weighs 270, is an alcoholic, and then he shows up at the press conference. He looks like the Luka we've all seen him to be. So unless he's been playing at 270 and lying to all of us, like what are we talking about here? So yes, I think it's simple as super max money. He was eligible for it this offseason. They were like, that's too much to pay for a guy when we're not even sure he's going to deliver us a title. They'd come on and said that, yes, Mavs fans would probably still be upset, but you'd be like, okay, maybe it's something that makes you think at least for like 2 seconds ago. Maybe I agree, maybe I don't. But to be like, because of a weight thing, like if you're a Mavericks fan, you're just like he was playing around Christmas. Sure, he's been out since then. There's no way he went home and gained like 50, 60 pounds just sitting there. So
This
where'd
is
the
Luca.
70 come from?
This is Luca. We're not freaking talking about Zion.
Right. Yeah. Where Zion needs athletic ability to be productive. Like Luka's been an unathletic guy all of his career, yet finds a way to lead the league in scoring and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
And
defensively
again,
doesn't help him, but look, he's kind of just slow footed, so he's never going to be a great defender anyway. Once again,
you can hide him. You can hide
yes,
Luca
but that's going to be a challenge for the Lakers because now you have to hide him, you have
and
to hide
Braun.
Reeves, and you kind of have to hide LeBron. LeBron's not a great perimeter defender. Let's be real.
Stick his ass in the paint.
Which, if I'm JJ Redick, that's a conversation that needs to happen. Like if you started a front court with like Hayes at the 5, LeBron at the 4, with LeBron playing kind of like an AD type of role, could
Mm-hmm.
LeBron do that? I mean, he's not as tall as AD, but could he? I don't know. I'm sure JJ might tinker with a lineup like that.
He probably would.
Yeah.
JJ break the team with the lineup. And I love that. I
Mm-hmm.
love what he's doing so far. JJ been cooking.
Yeah.
He should be in the running for coach of the year.
I'm not trying to think who would probably be leading that right now. Well, Kenny Atkinson in Cleveland.
I don't give a damn about Cleveland right now.
No, I'm just saying. You got Atkinson. I mean, homeboy in Oklahoma, I think won it last year. So,
No, not this year either.
right. I don't, well, coach of the year, they normally don't kind of do it like that, like back to back and all that kind of stuff. I mean, look, Popovich, I don't think ever won one. Oh, hold on, Trajan, come back to that. Anthony said LeBron's bad on defense too. Yes, and he's been bad for
Yes,
like
bro.
5, 6 years, but neither here nor there. Trajan, what's up? Kuzma hasn't played bad so far for the Bucks. Oh,
He
Kuzma's
just had to
all
get
right.
out of Washington, get away
That's
from the pool
look.
party.
Just because Kuzma played like that in Washington, like you said, you get him out of that environment, maybe he plays better. So, and I know Bucks fans weren't excited about the Kuzma addition, but maybe he can, get some of the fans back on his side. I don't know. I mean, I'm not the biggest Kuzma guy, but he definitely has a role in today's NBA.
Hmm.
So, um, which that was another move of the trade deadline as well. The Kuzma to the
They
Bucks.
were mad about Chris Middleton. I'm like, I get it. They had grown attached to him. They had grown
Yeah.
attached to Chris Middleton. Just like how I upset I was about Anthony Davis, because I
Mm-hmm.
had grown attached to Anthony Davis. I had been there when he was being injury prone and doing all the extra stuff, and the fans had to literally just keep ripping into him for him to get to understand that he had
Mm-hmm.
that dog in him.
Yeah.
We grew attached to Anthony Davis. He helped us get a ring
Mm-hmm.
the year Kobe died. So of course he's gonna ever forever be a piece of Laker Nation.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm about to cry, but look, we were
Yeah.
attached to Anthony Davis, and that crap hurt. Can drop 40 points in one game and then get traded 2 days later. Hmm. They're mad
Mavs
about
fans
Anthony
are mad
Davis
about
because now
Anthony.
he's hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Mavs fans were more mad about Luca
They're more
leaving
mad
for
about
unnecessary
Dumont
reasons.
and Nico and how they
Yeah.
handled everything. And they're
Yeah.
mad about Luca.
Yeah.
Luca,
And they're probably mad about,
ooh.
under Cuban, a deal like that doesn't happen. So now they're probably worried, like, okay, Cuban just leaves. This is the first big move you make. Like, what other mistake is coming down the line? Like, should we be prepared for? I mean, I don't even know who else on the team they like really attached to, but like, yeah. So if you're a Mavs fan, I guess I get it, but I don't know. Like, I can always respect an organization making a move like the Luka one because look, it takes a lot of guts to do that and to show your
No,
face the next day. Because yeah, and look, sometimes
Rob
these rumors
Pelinka,
get crazy. I mean, I went like 3 years of hearing Jalen Brown for Kevin Durant and just wishing like not waking up and actually seeing that move go through. Never happened, but it was talked about all the time.
like, Rob Pelinka really robbed the baby blind here, huh? Because
Well,
I'm like,
I
now I'm
mean,
thinking about it. He didn't even have to pick up the phone. Nico called him.
some of these organizations they get weird at the deadline because we hear about some like potential moves that never happen. And you're just like, oh, there was a chance that could have gone through. I mean, look, technically, you had the almost KD Butler whatever 3 team deal that was supposed to
Until
happen, and then
Katie said no.
KD was like, I'm not going to Golden State, and Golden State just pivoted and said, okay, well, I guess we'll just go get Jimmy Butler.
Hmm.
Does that move the needle? No, at least not to me. I don't know how Warriors fans necessarily feel about it, but he's there. Doesn't hurt first game. They had that major comeback against the Bulls and get the win, but long term, does a core of Draymond, Butler, and Curry give you any reason to think like they're going to get back to some NBA title glory? No,
I'll
probably
bet
not.
somebody $50 that Jimmy and Draymond get into a fight.
I honestly don't think they will. I feel like as crazy as the two of them are, they're
They'll
both.
balance each other out in
I think they're
the year.
both teammates that each other will respect.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times where Butler gets in trouble at his destinations is when he meets teammates that don't necessarily have the desire to win that he does. You don't really have to worry about that with Draymond. With Draymond's more about can he be disciplined enough to stay on the court. So, yeah, Oh, Trade notes. Let's see. Do they calculate viewership for games from tuning in for 10 seconds or something? Because I saw they set a record for Super Bowl and I shut it off at halftime.
A lot of people enjoyed watching the Chiefs getting their
Yeah, a
asses
lot of people
kicked,
watch it to the end. Yeah,
like me.
yeah. I I mean, look, I really believe there aren't a lot of people who tuned in for 10 seconds and just cut it off. And even the halftime stuff, I feel like if you were at like a party, the game might have stayed on. Maybe your attention went somewhere else, but I feel like the game probably stayed on. Or you might have pulled out an iPad or something and watched something else on there while the game was still on somewhere in the house.
Hmm.
I don't understand how that was enjoyable. It was enjoyable to, like Jory said, there were people who just watched this game just to see Kansas City lose. So with each
Hmm.
score the Eagles were putting up, it got more and more enjoyable to them. I would love to understand. I would love to know from Chiefs fans how long they watched this game.
Look, because if you had to see it in the fourth quarter when they popped it for that last time, that
Mm-hmm.
was a good one. I love that
Yeah. Game was terrible. Halftime show was no good. It was just all around a letdown. Like I said, comes to the halftime show, it seems like people liked / loved it or they hated it.
one. It wasn't for everybody.
Not
I
a lot
will
of
have
middle
that.
ground. Not a lot of middle ground with it. But
It wasn't for everybody.
right, which it is what it is. Like kind of at this point, like knowing the artist, yeah,
It
kind of
wasn't for
what you're
everybody.
getting into. I mean, like Trey, we did talk a little earlier about next year out in LA. Well, it's in Santa Clara for the 49ers, and then it's in LA, Rams and Chargers. We'll see who they decide for that. Uh, and then, as Jory pointed out, Atlanta's right after that. I don't know where it is after those three, but we just gotta wait to see who the performer is, and yeah, kind of take it at that. Uh, let's see. Oh yeah, back to trade deadline. So we talked. Trajan brought up
Fox to
Kuzma.
the
Did that.
Spurs.
Talked about Butler. We talked about Luka AD.
Fox to the Spurs.
Fox and the Spurs is interesting because clearly the Spurs are like, this is our CP3 after plan. Like CP3 will move on. It becomes Fox's team. Fox and Wemby become the new 1-2 punch that we hopefully. I'm not saying we like on Spurs team, but like if you're from the Spurs point of view, that we will look to get us back to the playoffs. Whether or not they make it this year, I don't know. Like they're below 500 team. They're outside looking in terms of the play in. Can they get to the play in? Maybe. You like the move for San Antonio?
Yeah, but right now I don't think it's a big needle mover.
I can agree with that.
Get rid of Sohan.
I, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I've seen like the Celtics play the Spurs. I don't know the fascination with Sohan, but I feel like there's some unknown about him that they just like. I don't know because they keep trying him at like different roles. They tried him at point guard once. That was a disaster.
Hmm.
I feel like they've tried him as like a 3-and-D guy. I don't know if that's what fits him. So it's just like, I don't know. At least Fox gives them another guy who can, score and create for himself.
And can help out with Wemby's development.
Yeah, true. Um, I think kind of an underrated move. The Cavs got DeAndre Hunter out of Atlanta. He just gives them another wing defender who can knock down a three. He was averaging I think it was like 17, 18 points for the Hawks. He's a guy who can start. He can spot start for you. He's comfortable coming off the bench. I thought that was a really good move that happened like a little before the deadline for Cleveland as they try to, I guess, hold on to the 1 seed and make themselves more of a contender come June. Because know a lot of East teams like to load up on wing defenders to deal with like Boston and whoever. So I definitely love that move for Cleveland. Atlanta, on the other hand, it's like they're halfway hitting the reset button, but you still kept Trey Young. So are you really resetting anything? No. I, I'm sure. I'm
There's a
sure
reason
you.
why I have this
Yeah.
camera muted. You hear this?
Yeah. I, hey, it's Bella. Beat of her own drum. Um, I mean, De'Aaron Fox's old team, the Kings, went and got Zach LaVine, knowing they had DeMar DeRozan, knowing we saw LaVine and DeRozan not get it done in Chicago, but bring them to Sacramento anyway. Any reason to look, the season for Sacramento needs to be studied. You go Mike Brown and that whole disaster to now Doug Christie. Doug Christie first takes over as interim. They look like a different team. Now it's like they're like that momentum's kind of died. You move out De'Aaron Fox to reunite Levine and DeRozan, and now your big three is Levine, DeRozan, Sabonis, which looking out west, that doesn't really that doesn't do it for me. I I doubt it does it for Kings fans, and now you're just wondering, is this setting up the Kings to maybe be active in the offseason? Like I don't know what the Kings direction is right now. That's the biggest problem. What are they trying to be?
They're trying to be a hot ass mess,
Well, I mean, that's the plan. They're
but they're
doing it
not
really well.
trying at this point. That
Yeah,
they're doing that at this point,
yeah.
ma'am. Okay, um, ma'am. Chihuahua,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta love them. I don't know what they're doing. I'm like, DeMar and Zach Levine didn't work in Chicago. What makes you think it's gonna work in Sacramento? Because both cities end with the word O. What is that? What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It,
I have no idea.
and now
None.
you just have Sabonis. Poor Sabonis.
He's probably wondering, can he do anything to get out? Like, are they going to
Exactly.
try to
He
get him out
next.
of there?
I said, can I be? He's like, can I be next?
Yeah. Like clearly, you didn't think he and Fox were any good. There can't be a reason that you think he, Levine, and DeRozan will be any better.
Mm-hmm.
Rip the band-aid off, send him somewhere. Maybe that's what the offseason turns into. They fully blow it up and I guess see whatever assets they can get in return. I don't know. Like that's the NBA like the NBA trade deadline was active. Now a lot of the activity I will say wasn't like game changing in any way, but it was active. So I can appreciate it. But I feel like we've gotten kind of to the point where like we might as well like head into final burn. And if you're new to the show, also let me just say, I feel like I'm really bad at this. What's going on? Those of you over on TikTok, only because their chat doesn't come through. So I have to get used to like looking over at the side monitor. But if you're new, final burn. Jory and I, we each have our own little time here to kind of go in, whether it's a team, player, owner, whatever. The spectrum is wide open and kind of let them have it for a few minutes. So, as a custom, let Jory go first. So, It's all the floor is yours. I'm even gonna do this for you. Bam.
And where I want to go first is because all throughout the Super Bowl, sometimes I like to scroll on Twitter, X, Twitter, whatever, just to kind of see the pulse of where people are at. Mm. And the one thing that got on my freaking nerve, if you knew who I was throwing shots at all throughout today's show, you knew I was throwing some shots. But
Mm-hmm.
these crybaby ass Ravens fans, my God, they turned last week crying about the MVP. We didn't talk about awards because that's a whole discussion right there. The whole misconstruing
Oh yeah.
of the word valuable and how value is measured. Feather brains. Value is not measured in stats. You freaking idiots. Quit miscomprehending, purposely miscomprehending the word value to fit these little stupid narratives you want to play. More people thought Josh Allen was more valuable than Lamar Jackson. That's why he won the MVP. And
Mm-hmm.
most valuable does not mean best freaking stats. Because if that was the case, last year that damn Prescott should have won. Value
True.
means impact of what you're doing and how you do it. In this the case, not best stats.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, like I said, because they carried that crime into this week about the Super Bowl. I'm like, how many times do we have to explain that the fact that Josh Allen's value contributed to 95% of the Buffalo Bills' success? What he's been able to do, how he's been able to raise his play, how he's been able to take care of the
Mm-hmm.
football and whatnot. It may not be all flashy and gaudy like Mr. Lamar Action Jackson's stats, but who got to the title game and they weren't supposed to? Who had the second best record in the conference and they weren't supposed to?
Yep.
And while one team they went through their quarterback, the other one went through the running back. Even though they played off of each other, I will give them that. But Derrick Henry was
Mm-hmm.
more to detrimental, more constructive in meaning overall to the Ravens' success. In all honesty, that's just one thing that they started pissing me off about. Then
Mm-hmm.
you cry on Twitter and Instagram and all of that, all throughout Super Bowl 49. The Ravens should have been there for what? So you can get let Lamar Jackson's head knocked off his shoulders. Ronnie Stanley wasn't stopping that. Linderbaum wasn't stopping that. Derek damn sure ain't stopping
Nope.
that because he's bad at pass protection. And you weren't going to be able to
Nope.
run. It would have been worse if the Ravens was up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson would have looked better than this. You've been waiting for how many years to say that about Patrick Mahomes? How long?
Mm-hmm.
You lose to him in the season, and you don't even get to play him in the playoffs because you went home early.
Yep.
Or we hate the Chiefs, so everybody should as well. And why couldn't it been? It's not about you. No, everybody else does not drink the purple freaking Kool-Aid. It is not about the Ravens. Don't nobody give a damn about the Ravens right now.
Mm-hmm.
Stop asking for stupid attention. The Ravens should have been in the Super Bowl. No, 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 no. No. I'm just saying we could have did a lot better than that. Guess who? Delusional Ravens fans. And Jalen Hurts would have had a field day with Marlon Humphrey.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't even beat them the first time to be talking all that stupid stuff on the internet. You beat them the first time. It'd be different if you did that. You had a case like that for Buffalo, and you still freaking lost in the playoffs to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the Ravens, the one thing is they have the talent. They have the players that kind of want you to want them to do well. That fan base is full of unlikable attention whores and crybabies, which makes that whole team insufferable. Marlon Humphrey does
Mm-hmm.
his fair share of being annoying as well.
Yep.
And it's like they're always trying to downgrade, downplay any other quarterback with dismissive and base level stupid ass takes. They always think a valid critique or an observation is an attack, and it's not. And they don't understand why people are questioning Harbaugh. I said, I don't think y'all have the marbles to understand why people are questioning Harbaugh. Clearly, because y'all don't want to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing to give them Ravens fans to think about, because I'm hearing a lot of Greg Roman talk over on that side of the internet. I don't know how I got on that Twitter.
Yeah. That's true.
Hurts is on play caller
They
number
painted like
seven.
this terrible picture of Greg Roman all of a sudden. I don't know why.
Hurts is on play caller number seven. And Ravens fans are still complaining about Greg Roman. Absolutely not. Complain about Munkin. Complain
Mm-hmm.
about Harbaugh. Complain about the person that's throwing picks in the playoffs. And
Yep.
just so that we're clear, I am a Ravens hater, and I don't give a damn who knows it. The Jalen Hurts is a better playoff quarterback than Lamar Jackson at this point. Until proven otherwise, that's where I stand.
Yeah.
Next, the Mavericks. You just talked about it,
Mm-hmm.
but the
Mm-hmm.
amount of idiot, of moronic, blatantly moronic statements that have come from that front office about Luca being 270. I saw him get off that damn plane. I'm like, 270 with what his bag? Then I saw him take a picture at
Hey, Sleepy Mocha, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in.
and then I saw him take his first picture in the gold. 2 freaking
Mm-hmm.
70. Nico Harrison really went the day after and said all of
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yep.
He thought Rob was trolling. Anybody would have thought your ass was trolling. The Mavs owner laughed at him. That's probably why he did it. And that he's not going to care what happens in 10 years because he's probably not going to be around.
Yep.
Sir, who admits that? And then you have Jason Kidd next to him looking like,
Jason Kidd wanted to be anywhere but there.
I know what this MF facial expression when I see them. This mug here.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what his face said.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to snap the tweak. You could tell he wanted to spaz.
Mm-hmm.
The long blink. That was like, oh yeah, he's trying not to spaz. And I'm like, if you were trying to cover up for why you traded,
Oh, hold let's see. All right, it should pop back up. There we go.
anyway,
Yeah, there you go.
perks of living in the internet. Um, That's the doubt. If you're finding little
Hmm.
stupid excuses to justify why you trade them, you probably shouldn't
Hmm.
have traded them.
True.
270. 270. He's pushing 270 pounds.
Hmm.
Are we forgetting the fact that Luca is
I,
6'7", 6'8"? He's not small.
hmm.
So even if he did get up to 270, he's probably
Yeah.
if they really wanted to embellish it, they could have just did what they did with Zion and say he was 300 pounds. But Zion was 330,
Hmm.
and that was freaking ridiculous. I'm like 330.
Hmm. Yeah.
So and Luca being a little fluffy, dropping 40 does not bother me at all.
Yeah. Grand scheme doesn't mean
Does
anything.
not mean anything.
But I mean, Dallas did what a lot of organizations do. If they make a move that's not seen as popular, they kind of go through the smear campaign to kind of save themselves. Like that's all Dallas was trying to do here.
And I like Luca brought you to the finals last year,
Hmm.
and you're gonna smear him. Do that on the way out. He's pushing 270. They pushing a damn lie. What are you talking about?
Hmm.
Just telling stories. He's an alcoholic.
Yeah. One
One
video of Michael
video
Finley
of
taking a beer
somebody
from him.
taking a beer, and now he's an alcoholic. He has commitment issues. Did he have commitment issues when his injured ass was carrying you to the finals? No.
Yeah.
Let bygones be bygones. Clearly they miss him. You shouldn't have traded him, but
Hmm.
I'll take him. Thanks. And my last
Yeah.
one is another franchise that I hope they rot in hell. The freaking Hornets.
Yes.
They
Did mention earlier that because of them trying to be shady, the Dalton Connect Mark Williams trade was rescinded.
you tried to get over on the one team that just got over on somebody.
Hmm.
Why the hell would you do that? Didn't think they was gonna double check you. You didn't think that they was gonna double check you and have you have a physical. You could have just been upfront. Be real. Now look
Hmm.
at you. We're excited to have Mark back. If I was Mark, I'm like, I don't want to be back here.
Hmm.
You was gonna send me to a starting spot.
Hmm.
They are low down for that. And they did it at the time. They did that trade at the time that they did it, so that once they didn't think that the Lakers would catch the issue fast enough on what they did. They didn't think the Lakers would have enough balls to rescind the trade.
Hmm.
And I'm glad Rob Palinka was like, absolutely not. Luka will get you a big in the offseason. Like,
Yeah.
that's the reason why they are the way that they are. A horrible franchise. You're not like that, bro. That you could be trying to get over on people and sell people damaged goods without being cross-examined and checked. You're not like that, and you're not slick. And I hope that Palinka never trades with the Hornets ever again. Period. Make it a three-team trade. Just screwed up my
Yeah.
damn season. Like what?
Hmm.
I'm done.
Okay. All right. Um, no, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I feel like we see it all the time in NBA. Teams will have teams that they won't deal with, as opposed to ones that they will. So I would be surprised if Rob tries to do anything with Charlotte right now or near future. But yeah, there you go. Those good burns there. So I guess we'll switch this up. I'll take the big box here. I'm gonna start with one that's a bit of a homer one, but it's kind of wrapped in a bigger conversation. I do want to say shout out to the NFL, where their Hall of Fame voting they make public, so we know how the. I mean, they made their like MVP voting and all that kind of public, so we kind of know who thinks whatever, as opposed to MLB, which we talked about before, where they don't. That guy is still hiding,
Hmm.
the one who kept Ichiro off his ballot. But Hall of Fame voting, and we knew the class was with Jared Allen, um, not Jared Allen. Where get Jared Allen? Eric Allen.
Both of them.
Oh, it actually was Jared Allen. I keep forgetting the Cowboy played for Minnesota. Him. Um, I literally just had this. Hold on. Let me make sure because I don't want to miss
I got
anything.
it on my paper. Hold on, let me find it. What is the paper?
Jared Allen, Eric Allen.
Antonio Gates, Sterling Sharp.
Yes, Sterling Sharp. Shout out to him getting in. He didn't have the longest career, but he was really good only because he had like a neck injury or something. But I feel like when looking at the voting, there was more attention to Eli Manning not making it, even though it's hard for me to think a guy getting on the first ballot, was never an all pro and all this kind of stuff, didn't have the accolades to be first ballot, other than he's a Manning and people just assume he was going to get in because of the two Super Bowls over the Patriots. Wasn't enough. I know he said he was shocked. I think the bigger omission was Adam Vinatieri not getting in. This is the homer part. As a Patriots fan, I saw Vinatieri make big kick after big kick. He went to Indy, made more big kicks in Indy as well.
Ew.
But for some reason, he doesn't get in. I know with the Hall of Fame, they have kind of a bias against like special teams, whether it's kickers, punters, or whatever. But it's a position on the field like they should have a legit chance of getting in. But the crazy thing is when you look at Adam Vinatieri's like accolades, these are accolades like Eli doesn't have. So Adam Vinatieri holds the record most field goals made at 599, just short of 600. The most attempts at 715. The most career overtime field goals at 11, and most consecutive field goals made at 44. He holds all those records and couldn't get in first ballot to a Hall of Fame that's supposed to celebrate guys like Vinatieri who did their like Vinatieri was a kicker for like 20 years and all the way down to the end was reliable as ever and was still a top kicker in the league and they decided to keep him out. Nobody wants to say anything about it because we all know Eli and Peyton were like NFL royalty. They have the Monday night alternative broadcast, which I will say is a great watch. But Eli was not a first ballot Hall of
First of all,
Famer.
Eli not getting
I
in
saw.
before Tom Brady. He can chuck that up. He is not getting in before Tom Brady.
Yeah. Well, I guess it'll depend on the class next year. I don't know, but yeah, I never thought Eli was going to be a first ballot. He'll get it eventually, obviously, but yeah. So I didn't think there was that much of an outrage about him as opposed to Adam Vinatieri. I also saw this kind of piggybacks off of what you talked about earlier. Ravens fans didn't like the fact that Terrell Suggs didn't get in over like Jared Allen, which, yes, Terrell Suggs was a great pass rusher or whatever. I don't think it's that egregious that, they need to be in their feelings like that. But
Damn, do
anyway,
they find
my
anything
main thing
else
was
to
about
not cry about? Can they be happy for once? Stop crying.
it doesn't seem like it because that's literally the 3 weeks since they've been eliminated. It was
Yeah.
mad about what happened against Buffalo, mad about Suggs not getting in, and then mad that Lamar would apparently have done better against the Eagles than Mahomes did. That's been like the last 3 weeks. It's a lot. But yeah, Suggs will get in as well. He's clearly a Hall of Fame type player. I don't have a problem with Jared Allen getting in over him. But Vinatieri, like, stop the stereotype about kickers and punters. Like, Vinatieri is a Hall of Famer. Should have gotten
Mhm.
in. First ballot, he'll probably get in next year or something, but he deserved the first ballot. Not. Um, I guess the second one was more. I think we kind of addressed it a little. Like the whole divide when it comes to sporting events like the Super Bowl and national anthem. Like, I mean, Jordan, I like you see it all the time. It's the whole why do we need this anthem being sung? Why is it blah blah blah? Then it's the halftime show. It's like, why do they keep picking certain types and all that? It's the worst. Like every year is the worst Super Bowl halftime show.
But they still
Find it
watching.
kind of
They
odd.
still watch every freaking year.
Well, no, no, they tell us, they go to the bathroom, they turn it off, they go get snacks, like
They're
whatever.
watching.
They absolutely are. And look, I get it. Some people don't like the fact that, celebrities are speaking out more and using their platforms for messaging that, may make certain people uncomfortable. I get it. I guess if I was in that population, I was uncomfortable by it, I might have something to say. But we have to realize that's the world we're in. The same way that a lot of these people go on social media and push their messaging, these artists and athletes have the same right that you do.
Mhm.
So if you didn't like Kendrick Lamar, fine. Like I said when we talked about it, not one artist is going to get 100% favorability. If you can find that person out there, I'll give you $100.
Michael Jackson.
Because I even think, well, a lot of people, yes, a lot of people said Michael Jackson was the greatest. You knew there was a select group that didn't like Michael Jackson because the person that he was and all that stuff. So, like, I think about the overwhelming point is like, is it really that deep that the minute Kendrick was done, you had to go to Facebook or Twitter and immediately tell everybody it was the worst Super Bowl halftime ever? It's not that serious. Like, it should not have affected your viewing pleasure. Because if you liked the game, the halftime show shouldn't have turned you off. And if you didn't like the game, I guess the halftime show wouldn't have brought you back. But it's like, they're just up there doing their thing. And if you didn't like the message, then maybe it hit too close to home for you. I don't know, because I don't obviously don't know all of you that are tuning in. But I do think you can have like healthy conversations when certain things like Kendrick Lamar's performance happens. And I feel like that's kind of like where a lot of this gets lost. Is people just hate on stuff and then shut everything else out and just stick to their point of view. And it's just like, this is why I'm a big Kendrick Lamar fan and like other rappers and stuff that are like him who make you kind of think a little. Because I feel like sometimes that gets lost in a lot of this.
Mhm.
So, am I going to say it was the greatest ever? No. But I also thought, kind of for the timing and everything, as much as it might have rubbed some people the wrong way, I think it was kind of justified. Because we just went through an election cycle where there was a lot of messaging going around on a certain side about problems in this country that for both of us being I guess, in the minority, weren't necessarily the best things to hear. So obviously, Kendrick Lamar's performance might have been a little different for us than for you. That's not to say like you're not entitled to your opinion. Like I'm not one who's going to shut down anybody for having their own opinion or anything like that. But it's like gotta be
Just
respectful
because it don't
and
mean
all that.
anything to you doesn't mean it don't mean to other people. Mean anything to other people.
Right. It doesn't mean you just automatically trash it as being the worst.
We've lost the we've as a society we've lost our ability to be empathetic, sympathetic, and to have some human decency. This world is full of hatred
Yeah.
and BS, and that's just how I'm seeing it. It's full of hatred,
Yeah.
so people are just gonna just hate for no reason because they're miserable,
Yes. Or
or because they
hate
feel
out of sheer right, hate out of sheer ignorance to you know the messaging that may have gone over their head.
exactly.
So, like I said, you know, use it as an opportunity, educate, ask somebody like, what am I missing here? And then have a healthy conversation about it. I guarantee you, the more those conversations happen, the better off it might actually, you know, shape the world as it is. Like I said, we normally don't, go political or anything like that. Even that was not really, because trust me, if you want to go political, I could go much deeper into it. But it's just like it's okay if the artist whoever is not one of your personal favorites. It's fine. Like just move on. Like just do you. If you want to turn it off, turn it off.
I,
You don't need to tell people you turn it off
I would have
because
preferred to
it was
see
the
Lil
worst thing you ever
Wayne.
seen. Well, those people like they're whatever because Lil Wayne's from the area. They assumed he was gonna be the one picked.
He
Whatever.
can't
Like,
perform.
hey, he still has fans, so they're okay with the current state of
And
Lil
then when
Wayne.
you bring up the fact of some of his previous recent performances, I don't know why you're trying to just be so negative towards Wayne. It's not just being negative towards Lil Wayne. It's a valid, it is a valid observation and a critique. If he is
Mm-hmm.
struggling at WrestleMania and what the hell ever else, forgetting his
Yeah.
lyrics and whatnot, he cannot do a Super
Mm-hmm.
Bowl performance. He could be a feature, maybe. Who wants to
Mm-hmm.
look at that at the Super Bowl? But we're being
I don't
negative.
know.
No, it's
I know
valid.
I wouldn't. Yeah. Like I said, not gonna appeal to everybody or appease everybody. Um, I mean, I kind of used the Super Bowl to kind of dance around a point of can we get back to a point where it's just respectful of opposing views? That's it.
No, I don't think
That was like my main thing with this one, and that's kind of where I'll leave it. Like I said, I could go on and on about it, but you know, I don't want to bore some of you with it. So it's just like we'll be back here next year with the same conversation because we know they'll probably name another hip hop artist. Sections of the country will roll their eyes because it's not what they want, and that's fine. Like that's the point of music. It's all interpretive. What may not touch you or affect you may hit a little harder for other people. That's all I got. I will say the Samuel L. Jackson part was brilliant,
hmm
but once again, people didn't like it. Like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. All right, that, that's really all we got. Um, I guess Jory, anything you want to add before we get out of here? Let them know where they can find you.
find me over on
Feel free.
Jory for Stories. I should have an episode out by Wednesday. Finally, my birthday coming up, so I'm going to try to be more consistent this month.
There you go. As for me, you can find me over on Chomping at the Bit. It's my personal channel. I will be back here tomorrow for On the Ball, where Brett and I believe Dylan's back tomorrow. We'll talk Super Bowl NBA as well. Uh, I know Jory made an appearance last week. We'll see if she pops in again tomorrow. But you'll find me on the channel on Integrity Sports Network tomorrow. I should have a video as well on my channel probably tomorrow. I'm gonna try to do like tomorrow and Wednesday, couple of videos. Um, or I'll probably give more of like Patriots view on the Super Bowl and some other stuff. But looking forward to the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots fan got a lot of money to spend. Got a new guy at the helm, and Vrabel really excited to see who he could bring in. Oh, Josh Sweat, get him to New England. That's all I'm gonna ask. That's all I'm gonna ask for, Vrabel.
That's such a Vrabel.
Get
That's a
Josh
Vrabel
Sweat.
pickup.
I'm here
That
for
is
it.
a Vrabel pickup.
Like, yeah. So if he can make that happen, I would be very happy. But appreciate all of you for tuning in. You know, going through this experience with us. We do appreciate you. We love when you guys comment because it gives us a reason to go back and forth with you, respond to you as well. I mean, those of you on TikTok, feel free to join in as well. But yeah. So until I guess later this week, because obviously we came on Monday because Friday and Saturday didn't work for us, and we couldn't do Sunday because of the game. Came on Monday, so hopefully Friday or Saturday you'll see us pop back up on Integrity Sports Network. Which give us a like first. You have to do that. I'm sure you found this entertaining. But follow, subscribe, Integrity Sports Network. Obviously, follow if you're on Facebook. Subscribe over on YouTube or Twitch. And yeah, because make sure to check out the other content we have here on the channel. So with that, for myself, Jory, and third co-host Bella, who made a couple appearances, appreciate you all. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your week, because we'll be back here at the end of the week for another edition of Passion and Precision. All right.